Hello and welcome to Monday's episode of the Terrace Scottish Football Podcast. I am your host, Craig Fowler, and I am joined in person in his lovely flat in Edinburgh. It is Tony Anderson.
Hello, Craig.
Hello, how's it going, Tony?
I am very well, thank you. I'm a bit tired today, but I'll get by.
What's the reason for the tiredness?
I went out on Saturday with with my in-laws and a couple of other friends. Went for dinner, but then they ended up coming back, and our in-laws didn't go to bed till like 5 o'clock in the morning. So I had to stay up, and that's when the clock's going back.
Well, yeah, that's really
old.
That's really 6 o'clock in the morning.
And they're old, so it was surprising. Then I ended up waking up. I went to bed so late that I missed the Kilmarnock Aberdeen game.
Sorry, I've watched that one, so it's fine.
And I got up, and then I watched the Hearts game, and I was all right. And I got a decent sleep last night, but you know how it is. And then and then I was at work all day today, and had to be in person, so I couldn't have any sneaky mid-afternoon naps.
No, that's the worst. Although I do feel it gives you a bit more adrenaline when you have to see people in person rather than when you're just working from home. When you're working from home and you have the option of a sneaky nap, it just makes you feel so much more tired. I think you just carry. You're like, I don't have any energy to do any work. I'll lie down for 10 minutes, and then you get away with 10 minutes, and then suddenly it becomes an hour and 10 minutes, and you've somehow still got away with that as well. I've
done it in my time, because obviously I just organise my own diary, and then Sunday, what am I doing at the weekend? Monday looks quiet. Monday looks quiet, but hey ho, we're here now. I went to watch the football. I saw the Hibs game. Went to Hibs game, my friend, then came back and I went out for a Chinese. And then with Mandy's parents, and then went to Winston's, Craig.
Oh yeah, very nice.
I quite like Winston's, a good local pub. Up for an award, I think, for best pint of tenants in Scotland.
Oh really? Very good. Very good. Certainly, I was going to say it certainly was my vote. I was maybe that's no. Actually, I was just thinking about it now. No, Winston's does have a very nice pint of tenants.
It's like Roseburn and the Winstons are good pubs out in the west of Edinburgh with good lines, well looked after.
Yeah,
but you can tell that they're independent. Say some people actually, the guy who runs them both, the two different guys run them both, but they're there quite regularly, and you can tell the difference when it's someone who relies on it, and it's not
one of these chains.
Not one of these chains. As much as we'd like some of those chains maybe to come back and sponsor us, and we apologise
for not taking it
seriously enough beforehand. But hey ho. So now I can say the independents are normally better. It's just that the chain...
come on, beer 52. That's not
get them back again.
What are they called? Green King. Yeah, aye. So we're going to keep saying that independent pubs are much better than you unless you come back and give us more sponsorship money.
Because the good thing about Green King is that things like...
And apologise for not having a sense of humour.
The screens and all of that, and you're guaranteed all the football. They have all the channels. They have Viaplay and all that. You know, the chain pubs, because they can afford all that. It's not the same when you go to the independents for that, because now they're being robbed blind to try and, if you want to try and have all the football, impossible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, because it's just ridiculous. Anyway, we should probably talk about the actual football.
They charge them fucking thousands to be allowed to have all the sport channels in pubs. It's like absolute insane amounts of money, like 10 grand in that.
And do you know who's going to be getting charged thousands? St Johnstone, because they're going to have to hire another manager. After paying one off. Stephen MacLean last...
Because he gave him a 3-year deal. Why?
Why?
Surely he wasn't even as it. But the Kevin Kyle story. I don't know about that. All right, fine, I'll sign it if you insist.
Well, how long would you like a contract? I would like a 3-year deal. Okay.
I've never managed...
No, this is why I want to... Oh, wait, hang on, you said yes?
Yeah. He's never managed before. You don't go rushing and giving them a 3-year deal. A 1-year deal.
Even Hearts gave Naismith a 2-year deal, which was... It was immediately kind of like, yeah, let's see how this goes kind of thing. And I'm hoping they can realise that it's not going very well very soon. But St Johnstone, the 3-year deal, Steve MacLean, that... For a club as well that doesn't really have a lot behind the scenes in terms of like recruitment and structure in place, to give a novice manager a 3-year deal and then to let him lead this recruitment drive is bonkers, because they've got beat 4-0 at the weekend by St Mirren. Again, I mean, Is there any surprise to you that MacLean's... I mean, I suppose it's a punishment thing that he deserves to go because he's built such a shit squad.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know who's coming in and getting anything good at this, because they're competitive most weekends, and I think they're competitive despite the fact that they are rubbish. They don't have any talent.
There's I think competitive is the word, but the second that I always see when I watch St Johnstone, it's into the second half that it starts to go wrong for them, because the minute they start to tire, because the defence doesn't get any rest.
Yeah.
They treat every, and this isn't just this season, this is last season and the season before. I got shit from St Johnstone fans because of the things I was saying on the telly. I'm a bitter Hibby because they beat us, all that type of stuff.
Oh, right,
But like what I was making when they deserve to get relegated, when I say things like that, it's because it's been a managed decline over years, and they treat every game when I watch St Johnstone, it's like they're playing the old firm. It's like they said like they're doing that everything. They totally sit in. They never engage till the other teams are past the halfway line. They've got no sort of like talent. There's no fun players. There's nothing enjoyable. It is like the sloggiest slog you'll ever get. And if it wasn't for teams like Gretna, this team could be hitting up with like the lowest points tally, because it's just, there is nothing to, I don't see what's going to turn it good.
I'm just going to go check this out very briefly, because I saw somebody say this in one of the forums, and I really hope it's true, because it's funny if it is, which is that St Mirren scored more goals in that game against St Johnstone than St Johnstone have managed all season, and that is correct. Yeah. So they've got 3 goals in 9 games, and St Mirren bagged 4 against them at the weekend.
And I just finished watching this. Well, you were doing a TV meeting before we started recording, and St Mirren were bang average, and they won the game 4-0. All they done is they were clinical, and they scored. Obviously, Bacchus scored a smashing goal. But that first half was so bad, because I'm sitting down thinking that, what game? I was, obviously we check with each other, what have you seen? Like, St Mirren, 4-0, right, okay, I'll get to see like a rip-roaring performance. No, it's just them, like Fraser, Gogic and Taylor stroll through the whole game. You can see the difference. I was talking about the whole back three thing when we were on the show last week. See the difference a wee bit with Fraser, because Taylor's pretty good on the ball, and and he can shift a bit, so he can add impetus when he gets the ball, because he can drive forward a bit. And Fraser's obviously a fullback, really by trade. Yeah. So it's the same for him. They both can power forward. So it means that the rest of the team can, like McMenamin and Kilty, can play really far up, and then Flynn and Tanzer are more playing at wiper, so it kind of works better for them. And Gogic, I feel like, is better with the ball when he plays in defence, because he doesn't get rushed when he gets it, because obviously in midfield sometimes it gets congested. He's not high enough quality.
That was a big reason why he ended up playing in the back three, and I've eventually come around to it now. It was something I didn't really like last season, because I thought St Mirren were a better team with him in the centre of the park. And also as well, I thought it was strange that, especially when like Declan Gallagher wasn't fit, because if he wasn't fit, it was Gogic usually playing. I was like, well, why is Joe Shaughnessy just being completely discarded? And I've always been a fan of Shaughnessy, so that was kind of why I didn't really make sense. But it's because Gallagher was good on the ball. Shaughnessy is a lot more limited. He's not somebody that's going to can dribble it out for that.
Yeah.
And basically, Robinson wants 3 defenders that are comfortable moving the ball out of that back three, including in the centre, where usually you have somebody there who's like your Christoph Berra type.
Yeah, you
like
did
somebody
a defender
who's just there to defend first and foremost.
And so, like, fair play to Robinson, because it seems like for that, it's like somebody who actually understands the back three, who's using the back three and knows that it's not just about being solid, which is what I watch a lot of our teams. That's kind of what, like St Johnstone. It's just because it's the way that they'll concede the least goals, and it's just a complete ignoring that there's going to be another side of it. I mean, St Johnstone, I don't want to say started well, because I'd say that's disingenuous, but they had a flurry of early corners. They had they had four corners really, really early, and it was after about 10 minutes that St Mirren just started having the ball a lot. And I said, but just passing amongst the back three. Mark O'Hara was trying to, as he does, just because of his style. So it adds impetus to the game when he gets on it. But there's no press, and it was really flat the 25 minutes. In the ground, it was completely silent, and this is that's might sound strange, but that's testament to where St Mirren are, because their fans are now starting to sit with the old expected. You know this.
Yeah.
You know it when everyone like, fucking come on, hurry up. do it for
More
me.
because they don't score that for half an hour.
Yeah. So that I think there was a bit of that. It was quite flat for them, and obviously because St Johnstone there's just no jeopardy when you play them. There's no nerves because they don't put you under any sort of pressure. You can just start, and you see the teams over time. They just start getting more and more confidence. They know that the goal's coming, and so Johnstone will be disappointed because it's the goal for Bacchus. It's a great goal, but it's a goal out of nothing.
Yeah.
And it's something that, and this is what happens, because you don't ever add anything, you're always susceptible to when, if you make a mistake, or if the other team score a raker, because you're basically playing for 0-0. It actually is no surprise that the game that St Johnstone have done best this season was at Parkhead, because there was no expectation for them to have to do any sort of attacking, so they could just focus purely on defending.
And the same, when I saw them and they were quite impressive, was away to Aberdeen. I watched that whole game, and yeah, they were especially first half, they were pretty good. And Aberdeen had them under the cross a lot the last 20-30 minutes, but first half they were the better team. They knocked it around well, but I even said after that game, I was like, they still don't look like scoring. They don't look like really hurting the opposition. They look kind of well drilled and well organised under MacLean, but they like, again, just keep going back, just keep repeating myself, but it's true, just don't have talent for this level.
There's just no fear when teams are playing them. I think it was McMenamin or Kilty with a really nice layoff for Bacchus, and then he sort of swerves it round into their far post, and it's a peach. But then the second goal is just, I said that it's an error, just like a Stark error, James Brown.
Yeah.
It's like he tries to chest it back. That's it. But the game's over.
Chest it back to the goalie from miles away.
Yeah, I don't know, like, what do you think? He's got the most powerful chest in the world. Yeah. Like he's got fucking bouncy tits and the ball's going to fly. It's just, that's not going to work, man. And then Mandron, but again, because, Mandron finishing is something.
James Brown's bouncy tits. There we go. There's already the name of the show right there.
But Mandron, to be fair to him, he was so clinical in this game, and that's something he would probably criticise for. He doesn't score enough. In the game, he only really got 2 chances, and he buried them both. And then the third goal that comes from, it's a St Johnstone throw-in, and they throw it down the line with Liam Gordon, and then St Mirren win it Gogic, and he plays it over, and St Johnstone sort of get the ball again, but Mandron's so much quicker onto the second ball, and he just plays it into Olasanya, who came on in the second half. And then Mandron's absolutely boosting. And St Johnstone, because they've all moved over for the side for the throw-in, there's no one there. And he's so much faster on the front foot. The second he gets the ball, he's played it to Olasanya, and he absolutely belts it through the middle. And you just see all it's Considine, Robinson, Gordon. They're slow as shit, and there's nobody left. They've not led anyone, just completely left out of it. Barron just runs to the middle, and then he cracks it in, and then I think game's over. I want to say something good about St Johnstone. That Jessime, he was involved.
Oh yeah,
I saw him a lot on the screen.
Okay,
not necessarily always good, but he was there. He was present. He was there. He was trying to do things. He was attempting to do things, and
Seb Sprangler spoke to the support after the game. That's
good of him.
Nice.
Good, but yeah, it's like there's just like Costello. What do you do? Like what? Like it just doesn't do. Like there's so many guys that just aren't doing anything. Like with Wee Max is meant to be like the quite attacking midfielder.
Yeah,
what world?
Again, I don't think he's still quite young, Max Kucheravi, but 21 years old. But I remember when he went to Falkirk and he had a couple of decent games, but even then at League One level, he was hardly like tearing up the joint.
Aye. And then like Turner Cook came on. He had a shot on the turn from miles out. That the goalie,
he's looked really bad this season. He's like a special breed of Brad. A special breed of bad in this St Johnstone team.
And so the goalie just sort of palmed that down, and Chris Kane had a nothing header. I just honestly, there's just nothing good or positive I can say about that. I just don't. They're just, and now that I just don't see how there's anything that can be done. I don't think they've got any money. They've got owners who want to settle up, so they're not going to invest anything in this team. So, and I would also they're becoming less and less of a a purchase someone will want to make because they're off to. Not good, man. It's not good for them at all. And obviously they were always punching above their weight. They've probably been like the greatest story in Scottish football over the last decade in terms of overachievement.
Oh yeah,
and I mean I don't think we might never see that level of 3 trophies of a club of that size.
3 trophies, consistent top 6 finishes, getting into European football.
You might not see that again. Like of a team of that size doing it, because I mean Dundee never do it, and they're quite a much considerably bigger fan base than St Johnstone. Dundee United don't do that, like Hibs and Hearts, Aberdeen definitely don't do that.
Something in the water, I think, in the Dundee clubs that just means they're just constant cloud car clubs.
So like it's been great. They've enjoyed it, but it's like they made a. It's like almost like it feels like they've made a deal with the devil to get that success, and now it is.
Now it's like, coming back.
You're like you're not just going to get relegated. It's going to be like death by 1 trillion cuts, and there's nothing. And I see there's just nothing for me to get. Like St Mirren, they just didn't make mistakes and took the chances that were given to them. That's all they've done. There was nothing else, no deeper sort of tactical or performance base. People run out. The best players are like tailing that. They're picking up like a 7 out of 10. There's an empty that was running Mandron possibly a bit more because he was so involved and he was lethal. But I mean, Kilty managed to score. But it's just another box ticked for St Mirren. That's what they're really just motoring. And even when they're playing poorly, they're devastating.
I backed them for 3rd early in the campaign, so...
You done it early as well, and people laughed. I laughed.
I mean, it's still very early days, but it's not looking quite as silly at this point in time with Hearts, Hibs and Aberdeen still continuing to flounder especially. But let's not go to either of those clubs just yet. Let's go to our next game, which is Motherwell 3, Ross County 3. So... I've got a bit of a story, a small story to tell at the start of this one. So this was a game that I was wanting to watch on Saturday. I was like, I'll watch this one. And so basically, I had to move. At one point, I had to got up a bit late in the day, kind of similar to you on the Sunday. Got up a bit late in the day. I was like, right, okay, don't have time to, because I needed to go to my partner's house. We were getting picked up to go to something at back of 5. So I was like, right, so what we'll do is we'll stay, watch the first half at mine, get the car at half time, go to ours, everyone will be hunky-dory. I'll miss 5 minutes, tops. And then as soon as we walk out of my flat, it's like, you've not got your car with you, have you? We went out last night, your car's not here. So I had to get the subway across Glasgow. By the time I'd arrived, it had just gone full time. So I watched so even if I'd realised, I could have been like, right, let's go now. So I missed the first half, but I'll catch the second half. But no, because I didn't realise until I walked out my flat, it was only the first half I caught. So the first half is 0-0. Barely anything fucking happens. Second half, 3 each. 97th minute equaliser, or 94th minute equaliser, I should say, from young Luca Ross, and I missed an absolute belter of a second period. And that was very annoying. But I have watched the whole game back now. So I watched the first half on Saturday. Watched the second half not long before we started recording. And I have to say, after being pretty unimpressed by them in their 0-0 draw with Dundee in midweek, I thought Ross County were pretty good in this one. And it's only a kind of, lack of mental toughness and also some defensive calamities.
I mean, the second goal.
Second goal is what a laugh.
That's there's so much wrong with that. That's one of the notepads for the season of worst goals. It's in that scenario. There's just what's going on. But I mean, Ross County. Maybe listen to us during the week from our podcast, complaining about the back 3. They moved to a back 4.
Yep.
And Eamon Brophy brought back into the team.
Simon Murray, very good throughout their time on the pitch. They, just in terms of so much more dynamism, so much more kind of, there was a lot of interchanging they had. It was Jan Danda in the first half. I don't think Danda actually necessarily played that well, but County themselves, nobody really played well in the first half. Motherwell were getting a bit of joy by kind of both basically their wing-back positions. Brody Spencer hit the bar. He also had another shot. But it was more, I thought, the right side with Paul McGinn basically pushing up from right-sided centre-back and creating those kind of overloads, and Motherwell were getting a lot of the ball. They didn't really look like scoring because their front pairing of Ollie Shaw and Theo Bair, talking about not good enough at this level, that certainly applies to them too. But then in the second half, when Kyle Turner came on, he was really getting involved in the play, linking a lot of stuff. Murray and Brophy would just kind of switch, because one of them was kind of on the wing and one of them was up front, but they would just obviously kind of rotate, and Turner was getting involved in that as well, and it was all very fluid and all very nice. Victor Latore, he was playing in a more advanced role, kind of as part of the midfield, and he was really, second half especially, he was great. He was getting involved in a lot of stuff, played his part in the first goal, I think, and then obviously
the one with the handballs,
yes, and then scored the third as well. And there was another, he set up a great chance for Alex Samuel, and so I was very impressed. There was a triple change. So we had the triple change in midweek.
I want to talk about the whole triple change thing, because triple changes, whenever they happen, seem to cause mayhem.
Yes,
and not in a good way.
No,
because when I noticed it, because Montgomery done it at St Mirren, and there was a goal that was scored right away when Hibs were playing in the cup. We had the
Aberdeen,
the infamous Pauk triple substitution. Yeah, we had, and now we've got the triple substitution here. And I think Aberdeen do a lot of that. I think Aberdeen like to do triples quite a lot. And if Hearts done a triple substitution this season?
Not probably.
But I just there's a lot of mounting evidence that obviously changing a third of your team might cause a few minutes of like getting to grips with it.
Yeah, I'm still to fully really make up my mind on whether how much I think it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I think in this day and age, when I think so much of modern football really rests on fitness, like everybody's just so fit, that I think when you have a team that's going at like 99% and another one's going at 97%, that can actually play a lot on the park. I think that's why you get more of these shocks at the highest level, like you've seen at the World Cup. Like, I know it's maybe like a strange World Cup had something to do with it, like at the time of year and
all that stuff.
A lot of players in the bigger leagues have been knackered, but that's probably why that these kind of other nations, they can run as hard. So just get a bunch of your guys in your team who could either run more or run just as much as the more talented opposition, and you've got a puncher's chance. So I can see why you would want to bring on so many changes throughout a game to just keep everybody fresh. But at the same time, sometimes when it's working, I mean, I don't want to go too bad, like Alex Dyer has never used substitutes ever.
Yeah.
But sometimes when it doesn't really need fixed, don't try to change it. And it was a strange triple sub to make, because County were absolutely dominating up until that point. And to be fair, Motherwell scored not long after, and that had a little bit to do with the changes. I'll basically come on to what the change didn't work. But then after that, County were still good. They not only scored, but they had another couple of good chances to score as well. Jordan White was winning headers and causing problems. Alex Samuel, he missed a good chance that Eamon Brophy's probably got a better chance of scoring. Even Simon Murray's probably got a better chance of scoring, because Alex Samuel doesn't really score goals.
No.
But he was at least somebody that was involved. He was causing problems, and County were still looking like the better team. The sub that didn't work, and I wonder if this one was enforced, because I thought this was the one that made the least sense of the lot, was taking Scott Allardyce off and bringing on Scott High. Because High's barely really played before. And you're bringing him on when you've got a 2-0 lead away from home to sit in front of the back four. And there's
a lot of responsibility with that one.
And he is partially at fault for both goals. He gives it away, the first one. He wins the ball back, but then he takes a really bad touch. And Muller will get it for there, and it's far too easy, just a simple ball through, and Beres in behind the defence, and he's going round the goal and he's getting fouled. The second one, you could say, right, it's not really his fault, because it's Jack Baldwin's leathered it off him from 5 yards away. But you do wonder, he's not playing in the team as often. Does Allardyce, or one of the defensive midfielder, Latore, who usually plays back there, does he know? Has Baldwin played that because he doesn't expect High to be standing there? And is he played a bad pass, or has he played a pass that he's just kind of done it like muscle memory? And then suddenly there's a teammate standing, it's ballooned off him.
Baldwin would want to hire you to be talking on his behalf here.
I know very much playing spin doctor for Jack Baldwin there.
Fucking Baldwin. More. Can I hear more from Craig Fowler, please?
But it's just that is a strange sub to make. But like I say, if it was enforced, then kind of fair enough. Because you could say, well, move Latore back, but then he scores the third, and he was still playing very well further forward. So
as well for that, strong.
But that's the kind of thing, if you make a triple, this is the same with Barry Robson midweek, because I think a couple of the subs were fine.
Yeah.
But it was the Clayton Clarkson for Conor Barron one that fucked them. So if you're going to make so many changes at a time, there is a chance that one of them's going to go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not give it 5 minutes as well to solve it? Just to see how something goes. But it's because you're talking about the fitness side, that since there's so much technology now, people can see oh, that person's runnings went down.
Aye,
I'll use the, Lee Johnson
Yeah,
doing the
you're
thing
running
about
at your 82%.
Kyle McGuinness last when he didn't take him off against St Johnstone.
Oh, yeah.
And he was he said his stats were still high enough, so it shouldn't happen.
Even though he was visibly knackered.
Aye, well, that's what he said. But said he's obsessed with stats. That was his whole thing. So it's maybe that they're being led by that. Maybe sports science leads that, and they're encouraged maybe to make changes when they hit a certain
I think so. I think that does play a lot into it. And if my theory on football in general is correct, then that is what you should be doing. However, it still sometimes ends up especially when you've just got to go 2-0 up as well, taking off your two players that have just scored.
It's just but I think that even though they'll have really be a gut punch for this, I still think County should take the positives out of this.
Aye.
And I think smart, because they were really looking.
It's a good blueprint to go forward.
They were looking stodge in games. You were like, where are they going to score? And they didn't have. There's not as much of the same excuses as you make for St Johnstone, because there is a talent here. There is enough. I mean, it's not world beaten, but they've got. You've got the
There's more top flight talent there than there is at St Johnstone.
The component parts to have players who can score goals at this level.
And I think it's a massive point for Motherwell for two reasons. One, it really stops the rot as they were starting to, because they were not great for 75 minutes of this game at all. And a team that started the season so well, and even when they went on that losing streak, the first three games, home to St Mirren, away to Rangers, home to Celtic, they played well in every single game. And they were very unlucky to take no points for that. But you know what it's like. Losing becomes in a culture, becomes a habit. But also, Mika Beirith coming back, because he's just clearly the best forward.
Aye,
an absolute mile.
Aye, because he's got like a really.
By the way, how little like a footballer did Connor Wilkinson look like scoring that goal?
No, it's weird because Wilkinson has moments where you think he looks all right, and he looks like
I think he looks all right when he's back to goal.
Like he might be a handful, but
he's very slow and he doesn't really.
Because Graham was so positive about Connor Wilkinson that when I was slagging him off, he got me, and I was thinking, am I wrong? I don't know if I am.
No,
but Wilkinson, he got the goal, big moment for them. But Beirith is like he's just like looks a striker.
Yes,
he's big, he's
powerful.
Awkward, he's powerful, he's really aggressive, he's quick. It's like you look really quite good,
and unlike Theo Berry can score goals.
Aye, so I mean they keep him fit. Like the team looks good with him in it, because you've got Spittle and Slattery, and they look like they quite like playing with a main focal point that they can play off, because they both, especially Slattery, has improved. He looks good that he can go beyond, and there's more room to do that if you only play with one striker.
There was a moment in the first half where Spittle, I meant to look back at it and I forgot, but it was somebody with fair hair, so it was either Shaw or it was Harry Payton, but somebody played a ball into Spittle, and it was kind of like, I think it was like a give and go, and he got into the box, and then he was kind of like approaching the byway, and he done like a reverse ball into like the 6-yard area, and I think it was Ollie Shaw that played the pass. If it wasn't, he wasn't even in shot, and this point still stands. But I think he moved further away from the goal, like from the 6-yard box. He went backwards, as if to like, I want the ball back here, please. Yeah. And Theo Bear was just standing like, I don't know, somewhere near the penalty spot with his thumb up his arse. It was just like Spittle went mental when we played that reverse pass and then looked around and there was just nobody there. Like, it just must be so frustrating as a midfielder where you've just got guys up front
stationary
or not forwards. Really. How many times are we going to try this Ollie Shaw thing? Like,
it's with the Ollie Shaw. The thing that's weird is the things he was good at when he came through at Hibs.
Yeah,
was like
good at getting chances,
movement, and like his all-round game wasn't spectacular, but it was very much looked like he was kind of like a classic striker, if you know what I mean, where he didn't really want to be involved and he was only thinking about playing between the posts, and he got himself a lot of chances. And it's like with experience, he's lost now. Like it's like reverse. It's like the older he gets, the younger he gets. He's like a Benjamin Button striker. So like it really doesn't make any sense whatsoever, the whole Ollie Shaw career. It doesn't make any sense at all. But this Tchaikovsky, I thought he was meant to be. I was told he was a Macedonian international coming from a big league.
I don't think he's ever actually played for them, to be fair. I think he's maybe an under. Is he? Let me just double check.
I think he's been in the squad.
Right. Okay. I don't think he's actually.
He came. Where did he come for Greece?
There was certainly a lot of hype for him, but I saw him. It was when they were knocked out of the League Cup by St Mirren. I was there that day, and he started the game, and he was very poor, and Motherwell were very poor, and he got taken off at half time for Lennon Miller.
I'm going to go. I think I might try and go to Paisley if you're just kicking around, or you might be at the Hearts. Is Hearts playing next Wednesday night?
Oh yeah, I'm going to what do you call it? Livingston at home.
Oh, because I think I'm going to go.
I'm not entirely sure why I'm even going.
I'm going to go. When's Livingston at home? Is that this week? Have Hearts got a midweek game next week as well, like Hibs have?
Oh wait, I don't know.
Because Hibs are playing St Mirren next Wednesday night.
I'm not sure that we actually do. No, we don't. No, Hearts have got Livingston, Rangers, and then Motherwell the following Saturday.
Well, I might be going with Big Duncan if you're looking for it to take in a football match.
Oh, yeah, I've got the show though, so it depends on when we finish.
St Mirren versus Hibernian.
We are finishing a bit earlier now.
Aye, it's been the new way of doing it. But people probably don't care about our social life and how long it takes you to record a TV show. Back to Motherwell, but yeah, I think it's one of those weird ones that I think both teams will. When the dust settles for Malcolm Mackay, he'll be much happier because he might be onto something in terms of an attacking and create goals. And that Simon Murray goal was absolutely brilliant.
Yes,
it was so good with the Turner. You see the action. Turner needs to play, man. He's all action.
That shows you what kind of fans have been saying. He doesn't play either him or Danda. It's like one or the other.
It's like, but like guys like Turner. Every team in Scottish football has to have that style of midfielder. You know, the box to box, quite agile, all action, can get around the pitch.
Can play.
And play. Like they have to. Every team needs one of them. He has to be playing for that team. And if you were to have him, Laturi, and Allardyce even, I think you're onto something there, and you could still go with Danda, Brophy, and Murray in that similar way, because you want to play Danda for set pieces. And obviously you don't have Jordan White anymore, so that's taken away something from those Danda set pieces. But on the whole, that's what I'd be looking to have. And Motherwell, like you said, stopping that slide because it would start to get worrying. And now you've got Baird fit, so who says they can't go and get some more results again?
Right, let's move on to our next game, which took place at Ibrox. Rangers 2, Hearts 1. Hearts take the lead through Lauren Shankly just 5 minutes into the match. They managed to hold out all the way to the 90th minute when a James Tavernier penalty ties it up, and then inevitably Danilo scores in the 93rd minute to take all 3 points for Philippe Clement's side. Tony, you watched this. Let's get your thoughts before we get mine.
I thought Rangers were pathetic in the first half. But Hearts, apart from George Grant, who I thought that was the only Hearts player that was playing poorly in the first half.
Barely saw him. Yeah,
Nieuwenhoef and Beningame, the best I've seen Nieuwenhoef play, however you pronounce his name. Nieuwenhoef, but Woof. I prefer Woof. But that's the best I've seen him play in that first half, because it's one of those, when I've caught him, I've always been a bit like, well, what's people going on about? Because I've heard some Hearts fans say he's been pretty good, but I've caught him on the bad days. But Beningame,
he was pathetic against Celtic.
Really bad. Beningame, just the difference he makes to that Hearts team, man, especially that first half when you could get ticking over. Just because
I still don't think he's as good off the ball as he used to be, but he's as you say, his composure on the ball.
Just because I think sometimes Hearts lack that.
Yeah,
and obviously, and then the problem is because Hearts are given the ball a lot when they play teams, not having like a bit of quality in the middle part, where a guy who's always an option, always keeps the ball, is able to spray passes, play them short. He can do all that. I feel like that's an absolute must for Hearts to have a player of that style. So I thought he was really good in the first half. Shankland up front, basically on his todd, because Vargas is going wide. What a shift he put in and the quality and his touch, really, really good. Rowell's absolutely superb. Best I've seen Rowell's play in ages.
Yeah,
ages. He must have the amount of clearances he made from cross balls coming in.
He is very good at that. He's not good at doing it with his head.
He's reading of getting it, like positioning for crosses. He's really good. Sibic was good, but he has the brain farts. It's just so frustrating. Like I said it in our chat when I watch. It's like Sibic. It's like it doesn't matter. It's like if you're you can do well, but if you're constantly going to do that, it sort of just defeats everything. Because it's a stupid tackle. The guys Campbell's running into two Hearts players.
Yes.
Hearts have managed to get back. Like,
that wasn't the stupidest penalty challenge made.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to that. So there was a lot of positives, and I know you're not a Naismith guy, but you can see a game plan. You can see what has been worked on over the week, and they're positives that he can clearly get his message across for this game. Because Hearts, similar, will come on to Hibs. They were so bad against Celtic. So I know Celtic were really good. It was the best I've seen Celtic this season, but Hearts were so bad on the ball. And when they had something to go with, but before I go talk about Rangers, I get really. I know a lot of it is because Rangers really put the pressure on, but Hearts just didn't keep the ball at all in the second half.
I thought you were going to say, because Naismith changed it at half time, so it was a 3-5-2 and he changes it to 5-4-1.
Which makes less bodies in the park so they can keep the ball.
Aye, which is basically, it was just set up to try and defend the entire second half and not really have much of a... Like, Lauren Shankland's quite good at sometimes winning those battles and holding it up for the other players, but there was just not enough support, and because of his lack of pace, it means that you're going to have nothing on the counter-attack. And it was... but I've still not really made up my mind. I've seen some Hearts fans complaining about it, felt that it was just far too defensive, and if you're going to win at Ibrox... You get that early goal, you're going to likely need another one. It's very unlikely you're going to keep Rangers out, even as poor a Rangers team as this one can be, that you're just going to keep them out for 90 minutes. But at the same time, because Rangers are as poor as they are, after that initial 15-20 minutes, which I kind of got as well, I actually thought maybe after 15-20 minutes, maybe change it again. Maybe stick Vargas back up front again. Yeah, his pace was certainly causing them problems.
And it was the first sort of 20 minutes of the second half is when Rangers really sort of were turning the screw a bit, and Hearts looked like, I was like...
But when Sam Lammers kept getting chances, everything was fine.
Because I thought the goals got to be coming. But then it was one of those weird ones that actually the Hearts started to look more comfortable as the half
went on. You felt like Rangers had run out of ideas.
Yeah, and like, because, I mean... Am I going to see Lundstrom with the ball at the edge of the box again? Is that what I'm going to do? Because I feel like there was a period I was so hungover and I was seeing the exact same thing every single time, and he was too scared to shoot. I think he shot once and he put it wide. But
I wasn't even that bad a shot.
Yeah,
well.
It was all right, but they were just Rangers, like especially for the second half. They were energised. And they were working hard, they were creating, but there's still a lack of quality when they were playing. And like Danilo just has to play. He has to play. Like Dessers and Lammers. Lammers especially, it got to the stage, could someone take him off for his own good?
Yeah. I don't know what two managers are now seeing in him.
It's because he looks like a player. He's got the lead dips in the shoulder, the hair. It's like there's you think there's a footballer there, and something but he just, the minute it comes to the actual, like somebody who takes a decent touch, but then when he makes back, there was a period where he's just, I see giving the ball away every single time he's got it, and he's playing in sort of like, it's such a key role in that Rangers team, the guy playing in that sort of number 10-ish slot that he takes up, and he can't shoot, and it's, what's he got, 35 shots on goal he's taken this season, he's got one goal for Rangers. Yeah. Like the quality chances will be good.
He's missed loads of chances as well.
And it's just no good. And then Yilmaz, big game for him. Didn't see it again.
Nah.
And that's a big game for him when Barisic is out. It's just so, and it's like it's all like the thing I like about Rangers fans is that they moan about the old guard. But when it comes to it, it's like the old guards that they always need to be turned to.
I thought Tavernier was shite. But he sticks away the penalty, and then it's an excellent cross. I mean, you could maybe say Kent should do a bit better. He doesn't really read it that well, but it's great peel off for Danilo. It's a brilliant cross, and that's the bit of quality that wins them the game.
Aye. So the problem is that it's not the old guard's fault that they've not been replaced.
It's not their fault they've not been replaced. It's also not their fault they've been surrounded by a lot of shite.
Aye. It's just. When I was watching him, I was like, obviously I'm watching from a Hibs perspective. Like, how the fuck are we going to get 4-0 off this guy? There's just no reason for it. But like Rangers, but I mean, we could do the two penalties are penalties.
Yes,
they're penalties. I mean, Naismith tries to create. I get he's angry. I do this a lot.
I was quite angry afterwards, and the thing that I always said was that, is that given down? Does
other
VAR intervene down the other end? I think that's a question worth asking.
I totally agree with that side. That was the bit that would frustrate me. But
it's definitely a penalty.
It's a penalty, and it's like he takes a huge chunk, and he's got the shirt before the block. But if that's because Ace tries to go down that angle, and that angle doesn't work because it's not true. So that you don't watch it, it's not true.
Like I said, the steam was coming out of my telly at that point, and it was from Robert Borthwick's ears.
So
it's Harren's
done. He's done. And it's not a surprise because he's had so many bad injuries, and he was never the most agile player anyway. No. So
if we got until the end of the season, try him in the back three.
Yeah, maybe because you can protect him.
Because he was a defender before he arrived,
and then he can play. He can play good if he gets more space. Because what used to be great, switch and play, Harren. That was like his main sort of like go-to attribute. He spin and then spray.
Although maybe it doesn't say much for being a defender of the society defence.
Yeah, I suppose. But but maybe him in a back three, he could make sort of big swinging cross-field passes because he wouldn't be under as much pressure. But yeah, I
think the only final thing to say in this game is that Danilo is basically, he's got to continue this to save Rangers' season. Any hope of them mounting a challenge to Celtic?
Just can't see where, like, both of them. The one nice thing is that as we'll go to, there's a lack of depth. So because we'll go on to talk about the Hibs Celtic game, and I'll talk about the period that I got I was like, maybe we're getting somewhere here, because when they were taking players off, they're getting worse, and it was the same with Rangers.
Yeah, we got right. Ross McCausland, who actually looked alright. Yeah. He's a young player. Like, you don't usually expect Rangers to bring some youngster off the bench to change a game for them.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
They've got Danilo as depth, but that means that when he's starting, they're bringing on Dessers and Ladders. That's not going to work.
And then obviously Ryan Jack's.
They've got quality depth in like Tom Lawrence and Kamar Roof, but they're always injured.
They're always. Like, Roof's always injured.
Yeah.
And Jack's just, I think Jack's, like Haring, the injuries have caught up.
Yes.
I think eventually he's just on his way out now. So like you're thinking it, you're like, so Rangers, they have to make changes, and they're just getting like conceivably worse at each change. So I don't know I don't know where Rangers to go. They've invested so much money that Clement's going to have to get something out of these guys. They're not going to be able to go on a spree in January. They spent a lot in the summer there, so I feel like they're just going to stand still, and it's for someone in that League Cup to take advantage.
Aye, absolutely. Right, let's move on to our fourth game, and we shall let's go for the one on Sunday, the one that you missed, shall we? It's Kilmarnock 2, Aberdeen 0. Kyle Vassell scoring deep into first half stoppage time, and then Marley Watkins getting the second. I mean, the stats for this back up exactly what I saw watching the game. 19 shots for Kilmarnock, 5 for Aberdeen, 8 shots on target, 1 for Aberdeen.
You knew there was nothing more certain than when the full-time whistle went during the week for Aberdeen that they were losing this game.
Yeah.
I was like, there is no way they're going to have their head back in the game in time for this, to play a team like Kilmarnock as well. Like a hard team to play away from home.
Yes, and we're again going back to the kind of tiredness thing. We've seen it last season with Hearts. We've seen it this season with Aberdeen. We saw it with Hibs and Hearts in August. Mm-hmm. Clubs playing after playing on the Thursday and then having to play on the Sunday. It just seems whether it's mental, whether it's physical, whether it's a combination of both, they just aren't anywhere near at their best. I mean, you kind of feel like it's almost an excuse for Robson because they've also been not at their best at other times, but they did seem like they had turned a bit of a corner. And then recently, it's kind of all just gone to shit a bit again. And they were really bad on Saturday. Like, yeah, you're right. It's probably a case of their heads were just up their arse after that collapse on Thursday, and they're also knackered as well. But like so many, because Kilmarnock are the worst team to play against in that sense. But you're also thinking like it's a team that Aberdeen should match up fairly well against if you're going away from home to try and win a point. Like Kelly's, the best thing about Kelly's team is their kind of physical kind of front play, with Kyle Vassell just being an absolute nightmare for opposing defenders to play against. Marley Watkins, a bit similar in terms of the fact he's decent in the air, but he's also going to got that quickness and movement around the place. And they too, but Aberdeen have got 3 behemoths at the back. Absolutely massive guys, and all 3 of them got ragdolled.
I saw them. I was watching the Pout game, and I was really impressed with them for the first hour. That back 3, I was like, right, I'm getting it now. This is what they've all been brought on for. They're getting more organised. Is this flip to some changing? And then the next thing I'm seeing Jensen fall on his face. try to tackle with his head. And then I'm hearing like they're getting battered by fucking Marley Watkins, who I know is strong, but these guys are fucking massive. I mean, Rubizik is like a henchman from a B movie. Like he's absolutely massive. So there's no reason anyone should be getting back. People should have the fear of God when they play against the Aberdeen team, but it doesn't seem to be coming.
David Watson ruled the midfield. The back three, Lewis Mayo had like Duke done nothing again, as he's been doing for pretty much most of the season. Miofsky was very poor as well. Mayo had completely sorted along, helped out by Finlay and Joe Wright, who were also decent as well. David Watson just ruled the midfield area. Graham Shinney, it just feels like one every 5 games he's got a classic Graham Shinney game in him. But other than that, it just isn't coming as often. Whether that's age or whatever, I don't know. But
that age and what they're asking him to do, because he's like a linchpin of the team with these constant games. He's never had to do that in his career. He's never really been playing in Europe.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And he had the. I bet he did play in England where it's like they play in Europe because they just play in that English Championship. There's no training whatsoever. Everyone just plays football.
No tactics.
It's great. Look at that brilliant league to play in. Just not a game, is it? Right, class. I'll play.
Connor Barron was very poor. Like he was quite non-existent, and that's maybe the worst I've seen of him play recently. Nicky Devlin had a bit of a torrid time for Matty Kennedy. The only battle I could really see Aberdeen winning all game was Jack McKenzie had Danny Armstrong in his back pocket in the first half, and he got taken off at half time.
Was that an injury?
I don't know. I don't think it was, but I think it was they needed a bit more attacking impetus, so they brought on Ryan Duncan instead. But then it meant that Danny Armstrong just had a much better second half.
Yeah. And that's one of their best players.
Yeah, so it was just it was a horror show for Aberdeen, and we've not really spent much time on it. But I don't think there's too much more to say about this game. It's a familiar thing for Aberdeen, and I think you could only say is it really, without Mbada, it's like, I know that Craig Anderson and Scott McClyman, who's in our chat as well from the podcast stuff he done for us 7 years ago or something, before he started working for Kilmarnock, and then he's moved on since then. But they were both a bit worried that Corey and Daba was going to be out, because that was what really made the back three work earlier in the season. But it was worked again. Like I say, Kennedy was very good at left wing back, so if they can keep that going, then this is the balance I think that's the best of this Kelly team, to play that back three and to.
What's happened to Robbie Dees?
Well,
his form dipped a bit, because it was a shame. Because
I asked Craig this on last week's show, and he was basically saying he just felt that the best balance of the back three included Joe Wright instead of him. In terms of what they can kind of each bring individually. And he's, because Finlay's like the left-sided defender, and so is Dees. And Finlay's probably been a bit better than Dees this season. And like Mayo's just been played so well. And Wright also brings that just a bit more height as well. But Wright did get injured, and Dees came on. So if Wright's out for any length of time, you imagine you'll see Dees in the next game.
There's it's a decent balance with the Kennedy and Armstrong.
Yeah.
Like with wing backs, because they've got Lyons.
They've got Lyons and Watson in the midfield to do a lot of running for.
Yeah. So it's not like it doesn't leave them overly exposed. And the fact is, with the back three, is they're all defenders. It's I know I was criticising the not having real footballers in certain bits. So, but it's different because
I think it matters too much with Kelly when they're just going to knock it long to Vassell anyway.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. So that's you're going to play it, and then you've got and you're still getting your wide players in because you want your wide players because you've got Vassell up front. So the whole team's built around what Vassell needs.
Vassell's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he's great. It makes no sense. His career makes no sense.
I know,
because it's like he's done about 30 clubs, and he's not even that old, is he? And now he's like the captain of Kilmarnock.
See, I thought he was a wee bit older. He was thought. Let's have a just quick check of that. Kyle Vassell. He's 30.
30. It's not that old.
I know.
For 19 clubs.
Fuck, I didn't realise it was quite that many.
So it's like it doesn't. So now, but it's like he's found a place to sell, and the one time he finds somewhere to sell, he becomes the captain. It seems like
I saw somebody said in the chat he came over from San Diego Loyal. I thought that was like a joke, like it was like a San Diego, and then it was like a Rangers like name or something. No, it's actually San Diego Loyal.
So like, it's wild that he's sort of settled here. He's probably played his best football in his career, and then he becomes a captain. And it looks like he might be here for like a good few years. Somebody finally, lovely for Kyle. He finds a home.
Lovely for Kyle.
Finds a wee home in Ayrshire by the beach.
Right, let's move on to another game that I watched that you did not, and that was Livingston 0, Dundee 2. Tony, the first half of this one was absolutely pish. Really nothing much.
Well, I saw in the highlights that it was over. The first half was over in about 10 seconds.
Both teams played 3-4-3.
And who is it that's playing in it? Oh, Donnelly, DeLucas, who you tell me is good. I need that to be proven.
I thought he was all right. I thought he was good earlier in the season, but his form's not been great recently. And it's him that's marking Joe Shaughnessy for both goals.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily too much at fault for the first one. I think it's just a kind of instant reaction of both players, and I think Shaughnessy has the better angle. Second one's terrible. He just completely falls asleep.
So
the 3-4-3, right? So Dundee, I thought Dundee was the wildest of the two by far. They're the front three of Luke McCowan, Lyle Cameron, and Zach Rudden. I was like, what is this? What is this as a 3-4-3? What is this supposed to be doing? And it done nothing, really, for that entire first half. Like, McCowan was doing little bits, and I think that was, one of the only kind of decent bits of play for Dundee in that entire first half was McCowan kind of burst through the centre and I think beat a couple of players, and his shot was terrible at the end of it, but he done really well to get to that point. Cameron was non-existent. And Dundee really weren't much of a force at all in this game.
They took him off pretty sharp.
They took him off and brought in Bakayoko at half time, and that completely changed how Dundee were playing it. Immediately they were better. He won a header straight for kickoff, and that just set the kind of tempo for the second half. Very unlucky. What is that disallowed goal about?
Don't get it at all. He's nowhere near in the eye. I always thought it had to be eye line. I thought that'd be the point, because obviously that would.
How is he interfering with play? Unless in the way of the whole thing of people say if you're on the football pitch, you should be.
Oh, I mean, if we want to use that language, yeah.
But otherwise, what is he actually doing? He's doing nothing that puts the goalie off. It's one of those decisions as well. I mean, I'm assuming by the letter of the law it is offside, because otherwise, why would you chalk it off? Well, it's Willie Collum, and he maybe just got bored. But it's. Nobody claims for it. He doesn't try to move towards the ball. He's not in the goalkeeper's eye line. He's just there. It's like...
He couldn't be less of an interfering in play. He deliberately doesn't interfere with play.
And it's another example of a goal that you just think nothing's wrong with it. And you think, right, that's it. I can celebrate this. I don't have to worry about VAR. And yet VAR's chopped it off anyway. And it's like I keep saying, it's only going to be a matter of time before every single fan of every single club gets stung enough by this shit that it's just not going to be the same.
And then
you're always going to have a doubt that a goal's going to get chopped off.
That was a big goal for Bakayoko.
I know, he was quite unlucky because he had a couple of other good chances that he should have scored.
Because he's had that. Bakayoko's been a bit of a handful at times, but his finishing's been erratic.
Yeah, and that was a really nice finish.
And they get players need that for a striker. They're big moments, and then he's not playing in this game. He's lost his place. He comes on, he changes the game through his attitude and his ability, and then he scores. Then it's like momentum can be built up for him, but that's kind of taken away from him, and they have to get Big Joe, who's with a double, but like he's played at Easter Road. And I was surprised.
Like he's played for Easter Road for St Johnstone, and it's the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, but he's never. And the goals dried up for him last season. He was barely playing last season as well, and he only got 1 goal. So it's good to see Joe Shaughnessy back scoring all the goals. How was you watched this? You said, how was Silla?
He was all right.
I've not really seen him.
Not really much to write home about, to be totally honest.
And was Boateng still good? Fine. I like a bit of Boateng when I've seen him a bit.
I was more impressed with him in the county game. I would have said he wasn't on the ball quite as much, and in the second half they were going a bit more direct, which did help them. So, but he was decent. I thought for Livingston, the first half, they kind of threatened a little bit down both flanks, but every time it seemed to be like a low cross across the face of goal, across the face, the edge of the penalty area, that Joe Shaughnessy would just smash away. Shaughnessy could have been a candidate for man of the match even without his 2 goals. But the front three for
it was Bradley, Newbley, and Anderson.
None of them were any good. None of them were any good at all. Quite disappointed by Anderson because he's a player I like. Newbley's just continued his form. Martindale has got moment of magic paralysis when it comes to Newbley at the moment, because it's just that's the only reason he must be playing,
because he's playing shit.
Yeah, because it must be but he could do something out of nothing.
It must be hard to get motivated when someone tries to punt you for.
I know, have to play a part.
Yeah, you don't want me to be here. So for Livingston, it just feels like they're going to get away with it. And Montano, really stupid with the stamp. Because I was thinking that I looked at the lineup, I was thinking it was quite forward thinking. using Montano in a back three, I'm thinking, well, he's going to get fought, and he does. He does a great dribble when he hits a shot in the first half. Montano from the back three, and then you've got Newbley, Bradley, and Anderson, and you've got Dan Mackay playing as one of the wing backs, and Penrice isn't absolutely shoddy getting forward. You know, we've seen it. So I was thinking that's quite an attacking, brave lineup. But then you're saying like they barely create anything. But I never know. I never know what to say when it's Livingston, because they'll be shit for 8 weeks. Then they'll get 3 or 4
we were
wins.
still saying at the start of the season we fancied them to go down, and I mean, I still would be a little bit concerned for them. Before the last couple of weeks, they hadn't lost a game, I think, this season at all, except from Celtic and Rangers.
Yeah.
So you kind of thought, well, but then the last couple of weeks they have lost and they've not looked good while doing it. So, but yeah,
that does happen all the time.
They have these bumps, and then, but then again,
because they're not that good, I suppose.
If St Johnstone want David Martindale, that is the chat. And if
it seems like very much so that they want a Martindale.
And if if Martindale just wants away, because you have to remember as well, there's new kind of owners coming in at Livingston, or at least new, it is a new owner coming in. So, and Martindale does so much at that club that an owner might be like, no, I kind of want to set up a structure where there's a proper director of football and a proper person that cleans
how you paying for that?
That cleans the bus. You know?
Yeah. Someone
instead of Martindale doing absolutely everything.
I put the nets up before the game.
If he goes to St Johnstone, they probably will give him the freedom to do absolutely everything. So that's why it might appeal to him, even though it seems mental on the face of it, why he would leave this Livingston team, even though the vibes aren't good at the moment, to go to St Johnstone, where the vibes are horrendous.
Yeah, again, because he'll just get to build it again. Yeah, with probably slightly more money. Slightly more money than he gets at Livingston.
And you have to think as well, like, I mean, the one thing
I think it'd be a good move for St Johnstone if they could make it happen.
The one thing I'd worry about for anybody going into the St Johnstone job is whether it's still too early in the season that supporters will demand enough of a reaction to try and stay up, or at least to make it competitive. And I'm not sure the St Johnstone squad has a quality to do that. To be fair, if there's any miracle worker that can make this ragtag group of regens.
Aye, but it's really
decent team. It's definitely David Martindale.
When you look at that St Johnstone team, you're like, sorry, who's that? You're like, this is 10 games into the season, and new guys just appear every so often, like Star Trek.
But that's like Livingston over the years.
Yeah, it is. So maybe he'll be absolutely great. But like St Johnstone, you'd assume he would have a slightly bigger budget than he would have at Livingston. If he could go into the market for January, get 2 of these random people that he finds. And then maybe they could. I mean, it would certainly be good for St Johnstone. But if I was them, I'd be thinking I'm keeping him regardless.
Yeah,
because I'd be confident he would get them out of the Championship if they went down. And without that, I would be thinking St Johnstone might just be in the Championship for ages.
Aye. Right, let's move on to our 6th and final game, which took place at Easter Road on Saturday. Hibs 0, Celtic 0. Tony, going into this one, I think a lot of people assumed that if Montgomery stuck with his system that we saw at Ibrox in terms of passing it out for the back all the time, in terms of lining up with a 4-4-2 that could sometimes look like a 4-2-4, considering the
players involved.
The players involved. That there was, if Hibs were going to get a result, it was no way going to be a 0-0. So how did they manage it?
Well, there was. See, he kept the same shape, but he done it differently, and he changed some of the slight bits of the personnel. So if you look at it with Tavares, which was sort of the headline. Oh no, what's happening?
Why do you like him so much?
Why is he playing?
It's that meme with Marge with a potato.
But he's got it's like I think the guy, I forget his name, our assistant manager, worked with Tavares.
All right.
Because he was involved at Benfica. So I think there's a link there between the two of them, and he knows them. But the Tavares, the one thing I will say for him is, I'll go on to the poor bits in a second, but tactically he was really good, and you could tell that he'd been drilled, and the team had been drilled to play very specifically, but he still likes his formation, and you can still be defensive in a 4-4-2. Like, there's no rules about how you can get the solid 2 banks of 4, exactly. And then obviously with Hibs with Venti.
I always think the prime example of that was Trinidad and Tobago at the 2006 World Cup. Yeah, 2006, I think, when they played 4-4-2 every game. But they just, like, they were so defensive, and they literally split their forwards out to mark the opposition fullbacks. They were playing a 4-4-2.
But with Venti, because he works so hard, it works. He gets back in so quickly to help protect that. He was playing on Callum McGregor, and he done a pretty good bloody job on McGregor. Stopped McGregor from running the show, essentially, which he does so often. And Tavares was barely really playing. He was playing inside and going out to right rather than right to inside. When we didn't have the ball, he was coming in really, really narrow. And then obviously Eli Yuan, who there's a lot of people who don't understand Eli Yuan. Work rate isn't a problem with Eli Yuan. There's switching off, there's stuff like that, but work rate's never... Decision making, right? But the work rate's there. And I know it doesn't seem fashionable with a guy who does the TikTok things with the hair like that. You're thinking that's not going to be a hard-working player, especially all the stuff you hear about him sleeping all the time, and that's probably quite good for an athlete. But you know what I mean? But like work rate isn't bad. And then Miller... Bashiri, I'm going to go into the sort of the by kicks, which I think were a big contentious thing with Hibs fans anyway. But Abita and Miller were absolutely superb. Miller's really, really coming onto a game here, and especially not just it was never his concentration's going up since Montgomery's come in, and even through that there was games he was playing well, and there were still these switches. Kilmarnock, he played really well in the first half, but there was big switching off, and there was a game against St Mirren where it was happening as well. And it was frustrating, but with him, they played Palma and who was playing on that, and Maeda. Like they both had to come off, and they both came off early because they were getting absolutely nothing out of them. And Miller's doing that with Tavares sort of tucking in. You know, he played really. And Palma, he's been coming onto a game recently. He got absolutely nothing out of Miller for the whole game. And then they brought off Mickey Johnson, who was causing more bother, but. Just kicks about the park in that one. He like skins people.
Yes.
It's like you're like, right, I can see exactly what people think, why people are still continuing on, but then he just hammers it out the park. He can't cross or shoot. It's bizarre, really, because he's skillful. He's really skillful.
I've mentioned it loads of times, but I always enjoy bringing it up. His performance in the 2021
the League Cup final against
Hibs. Aye, because it would have been 21, wouldn't it? Just before Christmas. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He absolutely destroyed Paul McGinn time and time again, and every time he got anywhere near the box, he just felt a bit.
And but with this game, Hibs in the first half, the only time Celtic were getting any joy was mainly through pressing when Hibs were doing the by kicks of Bashiri and Fish. They would come in and they would get the ball, and Bashiri looked quite uncomfortable doing it, and Marshall had a poor kick out at one point, and Celtic created sort of their best opportunities through that. But in the second half, Hibs had Bashiri and Fish doing it, so they would get in. But there was a change that Marshall would dink the ball up to one of the fullbacks who'd push much further up, and that was getting Hibs what they wanted, which was to beat the first part of the press, which is the whole point, is to bring people onto you, and especially the first 10-15 minutes of the second half was when Hibs could have won the game. That was the period that you got, because obviously when you're playing Celtic and Rangers, time runs out, and really it runs out for you in 75 minutes. The window for you to win the game closes at 75 minutes, because it is then backs to the wall. There's nothing you can do about it. That's what's going to happen. They are just going to hammer, they're going to commit men, and that's going to happen. But Boyle had a great chance at that point. Newell got in behind. There was a good few moments in that period where Hibs could have done something. But tactically, it was really good to see how far it was worked, and it was good that people. It's not always about the shape; it's about how you work within it. And there was changes in how we played. Ibrox said Ewan and Boyle were going right high up. He was really trying to play him behind. It's like he maybe saw vulnerability in Rangers and thought that he could maybe take advantage here, and it really needs to. And then a bit of naivety that. Like we talk about the time, even when they're at their worst, at their most vulnerable, they're still well better than you.
Yes,
right. And I think you mentioned that on the pod on Monday when you were talking. So like that maybe like you got a bit of a hit there. It's like, but you can still you can play defensively in a 4-4-2. You have Boyle, you can still stretch it. That makes him think that they can't overcommit with the centre halves. In terms of going into Celtic, big opportunity for Paulo Bernardo. Nah, didn't happen at all. They missed Hatate so much. Because what Hatate does, it's like he's a wonderful footballer, and he's brilliant at keeping it ticking over. He's brilliant at shooting. He's brilliant at passing. But he also always runs in behind. Yeah. Always, he makes those darting runs. And even if the ball doesn't come, it means that Kyogo gets room. Kyogo missed him so much, and it wasn't for his ability. It was because of those runs. Because it meant that Hibs, Bashiri and Fish could just came in on Kyogo, and then there was nobody in that said O'Reilly had one of his poorest games because Jago was really strong in him, and as I said, the midfield was playing in so narrow, and Venti would come back in, and that meant O'Reilly and McGregor couldn't really get the run of it like they wanted. O'Reilly wasn't able to pick up the spaces, but yeah, the difference when you take Hatate out of that team for that reason, they're going in behind from midfield. He done it against Hearts for the first goal. He does it all the time because you always see him. He sets up loads of goals with cutbacks, even though he plays centre mid. You know, like it's not normally how you would think that would happen. But a lot of his assists come from getting to the byline because he makes it darker because he's really fit and quick. And they took that out of that Celtic team and it became pretty one-dimensional. And obviously they still could have won. The Forest hit the bar, but most of their best chances came for more like set pieces and open play. They were really struggling to break. Hibs seemed down that had just been hammered, but Bashiri, he in the first half, I said he was a bit shaky. Second half, he was tremendous. You basically saw the two sides of Rocky Bashiri. What the problem is, having the erratic centre half, the worst place to have that style of player.
Yeah.
And then the second half where he was like a beast. He was winning everything, throwing himself in front of shots. He was brilliant. And as I said, Obita and Miller, that was Obita especially in terms of like a rounded performance. That was the best. You see him, he creates the ball for Boyle's chance. It's brilliant. So yeah, I'm pleased because you see your manager's learnt something.
Yes.
And he's implemented it and he's managed to get that right away. So on the training pitch, he makes me think...
He's not just going... He's not backed up really what he said, which we kind of all thought as well.
He's not doubling down
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think we all kind of assumed that anyway, that he was probably just saying a different thing in public and private kind of thing. But yeah, but it is at least heartening if you're a Hibs fan that you can see your managers learning and adapting to the Scottish game already.
And the fact that he can get his message across because he's playing the best team and he's able to do that. There's the hardest game for him to respond to and he's managed to get it. And now Hibs go into it's an absolute colossal week for Hibs in Montgomery because there's been loads of draws recently. We've managed to get out of the Tynecastle like the really hard 3-in-a-row games with only one defeat, but we've really struggled to score goals. I mean, take away an 82-second period against Hearts. Hibs, I mean, Venti's barely had a shot on goal. He's had no chances to play on, and you know he's deadly. But we can't get him into that. But now you play Ross County at home. It has to be 3 points because Hibs are where they're based in the league. That like they need to start picking up wins, and then we go into a semi-final against Aberdeen, who I'm imagining if Sunday's out to go by, they're going to be tired because they're playing midweek again, and then they go up against Hibs, and then on the Wednesday night after that we're playing St Mirren, and at St Mirren, and if Hibs have ideas on third, which obviously they do, that's what their aim is. Probably going to have to go and win that because otherwise St Mirren can start looking at, because obviously St Mirren play Celtic during the week, so Hibs can close that. So Hibs it's just a big week in terms of a semi-final and getting Hibs back.
Hibs could theoretically go 2 points behind St Mirren with
that type of week.
A couple of victories.
So I mean, I feel like it's a really huge week for Hibs in Montgomery, and if he gets it right, but he needs to win the 3 games to get it. I think that would need to get everyone going, because then it looks like, well, Hibs have only been beaten once at Ibrox and they've played nearly the whole league. And now they've started, and once he's got together, it's like they're starting a motor and a big win at like St Mirren, getting to a final. So I really feel for Hibs in terms of where this goes. This is like an absolutely massive week for what could be for Hibs this season.
Right, I think that'll do us. Tony, thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure.
And thank you to everybody for listening, and I was going to say a continued support of the podcast. I suppose you're still supported by listening. That's usually my spiel what I do at the end of a Patreon. If you'd like to hear that, you can listen to any Patreon episode that I do that's got me on it, and that is over at patreon.com/Terrace Podcast. The cheapest tier is only £2 a month. Really don't get much for that these days. Anyway, that's us. Thank you very much, and until next time, goodbye.
Bye.